in our last session, we looked at various journals and how we create them and post them. It's all the way from functional journals, foreign currency journals, how we can create a reverse journal or reverse journal, recurring journal, skeleton journals, and that is skeleton recurring journal. And in today's session, we will continue with the same field, and we will look at different things when it comes to the journals that we left with having not looked at. Today being 18th of September, we shall go ahead with journals, learning about journals. Some module of general ledger. We'll be looking at a stage that we happen to skip. And before we create a journal, it's mandatory to have the journals being originating from a certain, various angle. Like for instance, what I'm trying to say is that when we are creating or pushing data from to GL or to the ledger, that is to the general ledger, you find like we have different sources of journals or different journals coming from different sources. So it is important to look at the journal sources. Talk about journal sources. You find we have journals that can be manual. These are journals that can be created manually from probably directly from the GL or from the general ledger, and there are journals that will be coming from subledgers. Subledger account SL. So under subledger accounts, we have journals coming from, for instance, payables. Okay, we have journals coming from receivables, journals coming from cash management, journals coming from fixed asset. So you'll find these journals under them, apart from the source being these subledgers, we can go ahead and categorize them. We break these sources. Sources is not only one journal or one type of journal that will be coming. For instance, when we talk about payables, you might find there are journals of invoices. They are invoice journals. So there will be payment. So these ones, we call them categories. So here we'll have journal. So with this, it is important to understand how we can come up with these journals, apart from now the seeded ones that are coming from the system or from the subledger to the GL. We may come up with the additional journal sources and journal category based on how we want to maintain them in the system. For instance, we might find we need, or we have a project, or we have a project that we need to track the journal. So we might find we may need to create a journal source. Journal source to be maybe project. So if we want to get these these journals reflect accordingly based on how we are working, we can quickly use the source as project, and we can also as well go ahead and have a journal category, and the journal category may be various projects. Okay. Find we have projects like project. We have our energy project. And all these will be categorized in a way that they can be used in a combination of the source and the category. So in today's session, what we want to see is how we can be able to define our own categories and our own sources, that is journal category and journal sources. So we will be able to navigate to the system. Okay, of course the navigation or the responsibility is the same, the general ledger, and navigation is set up journal sources. Can start with sources. So with this, we go ahead and log into the system. Already we have logged in, but as a sysadmin, logged in as our own user. So it's start user. So this. So here we can go ahead and navigate to general ledger user, super user, go to setup, journals, sources. Let's written journal, setup journal sources, and the Java form. And here you get that we have the journal sources window that has opened. So what happens here is that you can be able to provide or define various journal sources as you wish. So what happens is, for instance, we can query the existing sources before we define the new sources, so that we can be able to have an idea of what happens or how they look like. Click on Find. And you can see we have various journal sources here. For instance, we have asset, and assets, we have asset, and description is fixed asset system. If you click on it, you'll find like the source is assets, that is of course the application name, and also source key is asset. And we have the description, which is fixed asset system. Again, we have some other checkboxes or the enablement features. One is import journal references. Okay, so this means that the system has been enabled, if it's checked, has been enabled to import the references that are related to those journals that will be available. The moment that the journals are created from the subledger, that is asset module subledger account, they will also come with the references that can be able to drill down to the transaction up to the level of the asset. And that's where now, when we are doing the end-to-end demo of procure to pay, we talked about, or the chart that we displayed also was more of a chart that is involving communication between the general ledger and the fixed asset, meaning once the information has been pushed to the general ledger from the fixed asset, the same information you can be able to drill down from the general ledger to fixed asset module and be able to see how these assets or this information that will have been transferred to the general ledger looks like. So these import journal references, it's all about referencing where this journal is coming from. So if the journal requires approval, you can enable it here with this second checkbox, whereby it's talking about require journal approval. So this is where you will come and enable this journal source. Then we have import using key. Import using key. This is whereby, sorry, if it's for the purpose of controls, whereby you don't have to, you'll have a control whereby a person who has a certain key, they're the one only who can be able to work on that journal once it has hit the GL. Then there is freeze journals. For the freeze journals, if you enable freeze journal, you will not be able to work on that journal once it has hit the GL. It will just be completely freezed all the fields, and you cannot be able to make any amendment. Then there is the effective date rule. So for the effective date, this one you find if the effective date has not been met, you can choose whether the journal source whether the journal will fail, will leave alone, or will lower the date. Meaning you can provide another date to suitable for that journal to be posted or to be worked on for the GL. Okay. So in our case here, we can create a new source. For instance, let's say project. Okay. And source key. Oh, this is telling me this source already exists. So we can amend the name, let's say project. Then source key we say project. Okay. So with that, I'll make it more specific and say these are third project. Third project. These are coming from the project. Okay. And we save. Okay. once you save, you can close and go and query it again. And we're able to see we have our journal source here. So the next thing we can do is to maybe define a few categories. So the same case for navigation for is for journal sources. So you can say journal sources navigation. Then you say journal category. So you find this the end. The end name is the one that only change. Okay. Yeah. So we open the window for categories. Object. You can see that. The description is the object. Save. So these journal sources and categories, where do we use them? We use them when we're creating or we are defining our journals in the system. So if we go to journals, enter, click on new. We have field for category. We have the field for category, and from here we can be able to pull or to create our or select our category or our journal category. For instance, we have defined TAD. There is an assignment that has not been done, but or the same. The system is checking that. It's saying that there is no. The cause is an attempt was made to find the sequence for this document rex field. The profile option says sequential numbering is only partially used. So action none is necessary. So say okay. So you see we have the third project one as our category. And we can be able to have this as the category for our journal. So once the project has probably been able to be defined, all these journals, all this information for journal and journal sources will be connected with the project. And if the journals will be flowing directly, automatically the category for this journal will be displayed here and start project 1 or any other category that has been defined. Again, if we want to look for a journal and we know the sources will be third project, we will be able to query for it. Okay, for instance, if we click on find under sources, we are supposed to find the third source. See the third project, the one that we have defined. So these sources, we define them so that we can be able to track the journals that we will be defining. Okay, then we have category here, third project 1. So you can be able to query from here and be able to find them. If there is any journal that is coming from these sources, you can quickly find and work on it. So that's about the journal sources and journal category. That's how we define them. So something else that I want us to look is now the journal batches or batch journals. Okay. We look at the batch journal, and before we look at the batch journal, we can look at the suspense journal. So when it comes to suspense journal, we usually work or deal with suspense journal when it is time to do an amendment, and it's not really like an amendment. It's when we are having an unbalanced journal, when we are creating a journal and it's completely unbalanced. And what do I mean unbalanced? Is that when the debit and credit sides are not balanced, you'll find there is an amount that is hanging. So that amount that is hanging is what we usually use the suspense account to track it. And by the time you came to get where the difference is coming from, you can now clear the suspense account through credit and debiting, crediting and debiting the two accounts, so that the account for that was affected by the suspense account can balance. So in this case, for instance, we have a journal like tag, let's say suspense that's journal entry 1, because you can give the description. Suspense account. This is line 1. Provide the account combination. Debit 1 expense account. With 150. Then we credit cash. It's 200. Okay. So what happens is we will be able to save our journal, but we cannot be able to post it. We will not be able to post it because the system will not accept that, and we will see why. Okay, then you can call it it's okay. So we'll go ahead and save our journal. See, the amount is not balanced, and even the system is telling you the total debits do not equal to credits for this journal. Do you still want to save this journal? Say yes. And the system allocate the sequence number to this journal. Say okay. So let's try to post this journal and see. So there is that concurrent ID that has been submitted for the journal to post. And we navigate request, find and see. So this is our request ID. Let's refresh and see how it will behave. So our posting has completed with the warning. For us to know what's the warning about, we usually click on View Log. So once you click on View Log, you can scroll down. Okay. Till where you'll see some meaningful error message. Then before we click View Log, click on View Output. And this is where we have a quick information on what is happening. So the error message is here. The suspense batch name. And the error message is talking about unbalanced journal entry. Suspense is not allowed. So it means there is something missing. And what is missing is that suspense that is not allowed, that is missing. So what we will do, we will see how we can be able to provide this suspense to be allowed. So what we do, we shall navigate to the mounting option setup and enable this suspense that is missing. So we go to setup, choose mounting setup manager. Here we query our ledger. Click on update. So we are updating some options when it comes to suspense account. So we go to update, click on update here. And once this is done, you click on next. Once it opens the page, and journal processing. You see here there is journal processing option. The journal processing option, there is suspense account. Click on suspense account. So you're supposed to provide the suspense account combination. In this case, I think I happen to create an account for Suspense. Initially, in our first session when we were doing the creation of these segment values, we did not define the Suspense account, but it's something you can always do afresh. So in this case, let's see what we defined or what I defined. Here we have our Suspense account. Select it, quick select. So here you provide project, it can be defaulted. When you create the account, the code combination. This one, if you don't know much about code combination, you can check on my previous link on our video on primary ledger definition. Click on create. Here we have our code combination. Quick select. And once you select like that, you can go ahead and say next or finish. You can click finish. You see the system will give you a confirmation that ledger third primary ledger has been updated. It is true. So if you go ahead, you can be able to check on the information that we have updated. Click on next. See the Suspense account. The system now will be able to refer to the moment of booking, the moment of booking a journal that has no balance, debit and credit amount. So let's go to our journal. Journal name was Suspense. This is our journal name. It errored out, so review. Okay. Whenever you're done review, you can just click on post. Post has been submitted. Let's find and see how it will behave. We can give it time and see how it will complete. And you see now, in our case, first posting completed with a warning, and after we have provided the suspense account, it has completed normal. So let's review the output. And you can see all batches have completed status check with no errors. So let's go and query our journal and see how it has completed. This is our journal name. You can query it. See, our journal has been posted. You see, it has now 200, and the amount has balanced. So let's review. So you see, automatically the system allocate the suspense account on the journal, and it debit it with the balance that is hanging between the expense account and the cash account. So that's how we use the suspense account. Now the moment the user will come and identify where this 50 or this 50 shillings is, or 50 USD it's hanging from, you'll find they will come and debit that account, credit that account, then they will debit this journal so that it can balance. So that's how we use the suspense account for balancing unbalanced amount when it comes to journals that we are posting with credit and debit balance is not balanced. So the system automatically allocate the hanging amount to the suspense account, but now it has to be provided on the ledger level. Okay, it has to be provided on the ledger level, and you can see here there is a description that has been added automatically, talking about suspense line added by posting. So it's through posting that this suspense line has been added. So if you don't post, it means you will not be able to see this account having this figure here. So that's how we work with the suspense account. So with that, we can navigate to the second item that we want to look at. The second item in our case, this was, we have looked at suspense journals or account. Journal and account. We've seen how to set up suspense account. Ledger, using accounting setup. Okay, you've been able to see that, or rather it's assigning, how to assign suspense account in the ledger using the accounting setup manager. Then on the same, now we look at batch journals. So on the batch journals, the navigation is journal. This, let's see. Journals, enter not entry. And from here, you can say new batch. Once you click on new batch, the system will open the batch window. And here, you can even close any other thing. It should not be closed. Click new batch. Then say provide the batch name, that is batch journal entry 1. Batch journal entry 1. Provide the period name. Choose the journal type. This case is standard. Then it is optional if you want to use some control. For instance, if the journal that you want to group together has an amount of up to maybe 5,000, you can use that amount figure to provide it here in the control total for the purpose of controlling that journal should not go less or more than that amount. So that is optional, and once that's done, you can come under journal and click provide the journal name. So batch journal entry 1. Provide the information that you can change here. Particularly, you can say maybe it's start. And you select provide the line information on the account. Debiting which expense account, employee training. Debit it with 2,000. Credit cash. Credit cash with the same amount. Then you say batch journal entry. Say you need new. You can see under the journals window we have the batch name here up. So we are still in the same window or in the same batch. You can provide, of course, the description if you want. This one we can give it to 50. It a bit the 50 with like 4,000. The second line, we credit cash. Credit cash. So here it's 4,000. And you can go ahead and save. Okay. So we have two batches, two journals, but they are under one batch. So you might find this maybe it's for teachers team. So why this journal and this one is different, and the other one is different. So if I close this, you'll find our batch total is 6,000. Our batch total is 6,000. I believe we can go ahead and create another one if we want. Journal batch journal entry 3. Click on new. This teachers travel expense. Click on line 1. Because if we had defined a teachers department, if there's something of the sort, could have used that. For now, this is for learning purposes. So provide maybe 15 USD. And debit, credit, cash. Cash is 10,120. Then you save your work. So if I close this batch, that journal, you can see the amount is. So you can choose to post all that batch, the whole of it, and you can also choose to post per individual journal. So like this is the first one, you can say post. Content request has been submitted. Let's see how it will behave. It has completed normal. Let's go and see our journal. And we need to query the whole batch again. Journals. You can see this batch 1 has been posted, but it seems it's posting the whole thing. Yeah, it's posting the whole thing. Once you click on post, so it has posted every journal. Okay, and you can auto copy the batch if you want to reproduce or to use the same information or the same data that is already available in the existing batch, and do the amendment of what probably you want to amend. Now here you can provide it with batch name. Say probably is for October. Click OK. Program has been submitted. Copy has been completed. Click on the output. Looks like it doesn't have any output, but we can go and query our batch. It's 1A. Is it 1A or A1? 1A. Seems to be. Anyway, I'll check that one and probably be able to see how it will behave. So again, something as you can, if the check funds and budget is enabled, you can be able to check funds and reserve funds. You can also be able to reverse a batch, for instance, the one that we just created. Because it has been posted, you see now post button is inactive, but reverse batch is active. So you can be able to post an reverse the already posted batch. Okay. Then you can also do batch approval. You can change period. So why do we use batch journals or group journals in batches? So sometimes you might find it's for one thing, it's for probably there is a group of journals that you want to track. For instance, is for a certain project or certain expenses. So you will find you want to track those journals as a group, and it will be easier when you are doing so. Another one is when you are doing the end of the period close. So if you are doing some journals at the end of each and every period, you may choose to group them and provide some grouping or relevancy when it comes to bringing them together. Another thing is for the purpose of efficiency, because the moment you have grouped these journals together, it will be efficient for you to query that information quickly if you need it. And other information are there for just making your work easier and also looking organized. So there are several useful ways of working with journal batches. That is that, and we will be able to go up to that level today, so that